and in trying to contribute to even more positivity on the internet. Today, I will be talking about how you can cut off all the fat, all the unnecessary stuff that is in your life so that you can become more happy and positive throughout your day. For the past couple of weeks, my motivation and level of happiness have really plummeted. And so basically what I was doing was that I was becoming even more unhappy because I was not satisfied with what I was doing. So I became basically a workaholic. So I kept writing, filming, recording, and editing even more and more and more. And eventually it became literally almost like 10 hours a day of just pure working. Not only was I not spending time with my family, I was also not spending a lot of time for my friends. And also I wasn't taking care of my body good enough so that it can actually maintain this crazy amount of work that I'm trying to get off of it. So eventually I realized that, and I just didn't know how to fix it. But until, I was actually reading through this book. It is called The 4-Hour Workweek. If you guys are watching, you guys can literally read it off. Those are listening to this, it is by Timothy Ferriss. You can find it on Amazon. I bought this book for around $20, which is really cheap for the amount of information that is in it. By the way, I was reading on the chapter about the 80-20 rule or the Pareto principle, and also the Parkinson's rule. The 80-20 rule or the Pareto principle states that for many events, roughly 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes. A lot of the time I should be spending on doing the work that really brings me true happiness and also brings me the most valuable than to try and do some miscellaneous stuff and call that work. Parkinson's rule states that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. If you put a deadline or a specific amount of time on yourself, you as a person and as an individual will work so hard for that so that it fills up to that expectation. And the author, which is Timothy Ferriss, by the way, stressed about the importance that to be able to combine working on the most important stuff with a deadline or with a specific amount of time is the best way to not only to maximize your output, but to also maximize the amount of time that you have in a day. And a story that is in this book that shook me a lot and gave me the most amount of valuable, that changed pretty much how I work now. It was about a man that he knew, right? He was living a stressful life. He was living an unfulfilled life where everything was work. He was working, I think almost 40 to 50 hours a week. Even though he was making a lot of money, he couldn't be able to spend a lot of time with his family. And he was very disappointed about himself and not really happy in the general. But after the author recommended him that he would change the way that he worked. And then when he applied the 80-20 rule and the Parkinson's rule, which is focusing on the work that meant the most, he was basically targeted down on where most of his income was coming from, focus on that, and also having a time restraint every single day. And when the results coming back, he was making 4 times as much money as he was before, and he also gets to spend Monday and Friday off with his kids. What I want you to get out of this is that not only can this rule be applied to your professional life, but also be applied to your personal life. By cutting out all the fat, by figuring out, finding 20% of the people, the 20% of the things that you love doing the most, and focus on that instead of doing mindless work or talking to somebody that doesn't even make you happy in general. Now, if you're working and you're unhappy, try to find that 20% that you most enjoy doing and also brings you the most value again, so that you can become better and be more effective in general. The more time that you are spending not stressing about what you have to do the next day and how much time you have to figure it out. And please take everything that I say in this episode with a grain of salt. Not everything can be applied with the 80-20 rule. There are a lot of successes that came from actually working hard every single day, not having a time constraint or focusing on just 20%. But if you're trying to become a little bit happier like I am, make sure you are trying to focus on what's most important to you and not something else. Now, I always thought that I have an unlimited amount of energy because just because I'm in my prime years, I can spend every waking hours just trying to learn, make mistake all the time, so that I can learn a lot and become a better person every single day. But that is so far from the truth. I am not only breaking down my body, worn down even more, but I am also sacrificing a lot of the time that I'm spending with my own family and friends. And if you're in the same situation that I was before, make sure you focus on what you need to be done and have a limited amount of time that you can work on so you can maximize your outcome and also maximize your time that you have trying to do something else. And if there's anything else that you get out of this episode, is that I want you to write down right now everything that you do in a single day, and also evaluate which one brings you the most joy and brings you the most outcome, most value. Go from there, and also set a certain amount of time. And for me, 4 p.m. is where everything is done. I'm not working on anything, I'm not filming anything, I'm not planning anything. That is that one time not working. That's just for me. I don't know what the time is at for you, but make sure you have one so that you can keep your sanity and so become more happy in a day.